Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Isaac.
And this is your boy, Bryce.
And we are brothers on tennis. And folks, we are entering the last phase of the 2024 season. We've got the folks over, over in Asia, and they're working it out with these 500 and 1,000 level tournaments. So, Bryce, things are roughly shaping up as it relates to the end of the season and the WTA and ATP championships. Lots of things going on, lots of storylines, bro. How are you just digesting all of the tennis that's been thrown at us at this point in time?
Right. And we didn't talk about this, so I appreciate you presenting this. Because I think we've said this in previous years. There's been a big topic this year about players feeling like there's too many tournaments. They're burnt out, they're getting injured. We have a number of players that have kind of ended their year early. And I must echo that sentiment for me as a fan and a follower. I mean, I am, we follow tennis hard and heavy.
Yes.
And we start in January and we follow it to the end of the season, which takes you into November. And so we really only have a month off that there's not tennis going on. And I'm going to be very honest with you, and I hope our followers don't look at me kind of with side eye with this, but I keep up with the scores right now, but I'm not like really sitting down and watching matches because I'm a little burnt out myself. I want to stay up with the results and follow how we go into the year-end championship. But to be honest with you, after the Laver Cup, like Laver Cup for me is kind of like the end of the season for me until the year-end championship. I don't know how many of you out there agree with me or not, but I'm just putting it out there.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like you once you finish up the U.S. Open, I mean the last Grand Slam of the year, it's like Laver Cup, which in both of our opinions is the best tournament on the schedule, bar none. And so then once that's done, then it's kind of like, okay, what's left? And then you forget that there's this whole Asian swing where they got 1,000 level tournaments and you got Paris and all this other stuff. But it's just the calendar is extremely long. And I'm like you, Bryce, I've been watching the tennis. I mean, there have been a lot of matches that I'll DVR and I'll literally I'll fast forward through a lot of I have my little method of I get to break points and I see who's going to do the break point. And then it's like, okay, let's keep going. Like I said, the only ones are the ones that I really, like I said, I love the folks. So I would watch their matches like in Alcaraz, of course. I always watch Coco Gauff to make sure that I see a level of improvement in her both serve and forehand. And of course, you gotta watch Le Monfils, which was I got a great one because Alcaraz played Monfils today. So that was awesome. It's so great when you see two athletes of their caliber share the court. It's incredible.
It really is. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I know we haven't recorded an episode. We were on IG Live, but we haven't recorded an episode since the Laver Cup ended. And so I wanted to bring up the Laver Cup. I think by this point, everybody knows Team Europe won. I think everybody knows that we're going to have a change of captains next year. McEnroe to Agassi and Borg to Noah. We know that the location is going to be San Francisco next year. Shout out Media Credentials. But beyond all of that, I think something momentous happened at the Laver Cup this year. And I'm going to let you talk about the one you were mentioning earlier. But for Carlos Alcaraz, I think everybody saw like a bit of a dip from him after the Olympics. And, for me, and I could be wrong, I'm just one guy here giving his opinion, but I feel like that loss to Djokovic and the gold medal match really affected him because I think that was the first big stage match that he had lost. He's lost before, but normally if he gets like in the finals of a major or one of the major tournaments, he wins.
Right.
And I think this was the first kind of like really major big match that he did not win. And I think his record with Sinner is a great example. Yeah, he's taking losses to Sinner, but not in the big tournaments, right?
No.
He wins those, right?
Yes.
So back to Laver Cup, he showed up so big. He was truly the MVP of Team Europe, winning the big matches, well, basically winning almost all the matches. He set a record on the number of points he scored for Team Europe. But I think that put his mojo back a little bit. Like, okay, I am the guy. He had Caboli, the fellow Italian guy, telling him that you're the best player in the world, not Yannick Sinner,
Right.
So I feel like Laver Cup was really good to get Carlos's mojo back.
Yeah.
And I think we've been seeing that since the tournament.
Oh,
now, I know you felt like there was another potential impact there.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it wasn't of the positive nature. And I'm hoping that this won't be the case. But I think that loss that Francis took to Zverev when he had the opportunity to pretty much clinch the cup, because that was a tough one. He had Zverev dead to rights, and he just let him hang around, and Zverev's forehand got relatively dependable. And when he lost that match, you could tell that hurt him real bad, because Francis is the team guy and he's the motivator, and he and Ben just they basically carry that team for the most part. And for him not to come through, I was very concerned with how he would then his motivation, because he's really been on a high since picking up David Witt, and his summer has been great, and he's really been doing a lot of big things. And so it was just a little concerning to me when he lost that match. And then of course we saw today he lost to Safiullin, and I was initially like, ooh, but then I did see the score, and it was 7-6. It was a tiebreaker in the third, so I'm like, okay. It wasn't like he got a beat down or something like that. He played hard, and Safiullin is not one to play with. He is a good player, a very solid player. So I'm going to be monitoring Tiafoe over the rest of the season and the start of the year, because I just want to, like you said, I think it was a positive for Alcaraz, but I think it may have been a little bit of a negative for Tiafoe when he wasn't able to close out that match against Zverev.
I agree with you. And, and look, we're all human, so I'm not here to down on anybody, but obviously that was not a good look for Tiafoe and that Safiullin match with his, with the umpire and all that. And to his credit, he's come out and released an apology and all that. So, we appreciate that from Francis. But I think when you see those type of outbursts and stuff like that, I think it really speaks to the pressure that is on these players to produce, not just for ranking points. But they have contracts and endorsements.
It's their brand.
And all that, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you've got to produce results if you really want to bring your brand to that level of, again, you hanging out with LeBron and you trying to do all this, that, and the other. Your brand got to be tight, which means you have to be getting results. It's all a package.
Right. So shout out to Laver Cup. But this rolled us into, like you were saying, the Asian swing of the tournaments, and we had some changes. I mean, one of the big changes we had was Coco Gauff and Brad Gilbert split. And Isaac, I want to ask you specifically, because you had spoken previously about you were hoping that didn't happen. You were thinking that Brad was a good fit. We have this new guy, and I'm sorry I forgot his name already, because I hadn't heard of him before. But what are your thoughts on just new coaching and her making that decision to split from Brad?
Yeah. For me, I still feel like, I'm still a little disappointed with the move, if I'm being very honest with you, because I do feel like Brad would have been able to work with her and really kind of continue to fine tune those opportunity areas, i.e. that serve and the forehand. But with that said, the change was made, and we got to go with it. I mean, Coco's still my favorite female player, so it's like, hey, you know you still got to rock with her. And apparently, this coach, somehow he's tied to just Gula, and he like did stats or somehow or another. It's small world, of course, with tennis. So somehow or another, she knew him from something with Justin, blah blah blah, and brought him on. So I don't think this was like completely out of the blue, but he's not a known name. So that's why, and hence we can't remember his name. But apparently she's comfortable enough to bring him on board. I thought it was kind of fast. I thought that, if you're gonna go and move away from a Brad Gilbert, take some time to really just kind of figure things out. But apparently she's like, hey, I know what I want and what I need. So why wait? Why mess around? So she brought him on, and lo and behold, Bryce, she wins a 1,000-level tournament, and it's like, Isaac, shut up! Everybody's scared of you. I got this.
Look, she comes out the gun firing when she get a new coach, don't she?
Right? I'm trying to tell you, bro. She puts it on. And what was so interesting to me was how she just absolutely dismantled Muhova. And that was shocking to me because Muhova had done damage in that tournament. She took out Sabalenka. She has some scalps. I mean, and I was like, okay, Muhova looking like she gonna get up in here and give Coco some business. Coco was like, girl, no, ain't nobody impressed by you. I
don't care if you play like a man or a woman.
Don't matter. Your game does not worry me. And because it took me a minute, because I was like, how is it that Coco is just dissecting and just really beating her down? And Bryce, this is the thing. Coco, the majority of the people that Coco has a really difficult time with, they know how to attack and pressure her forehand side. For whatever reason, Muhova's game just isn't built around attacking the forehand side. It's so weird because it's built around athleticism, around variety. But unfortunately, when you look at athlete versus athlete, Coco's kind of a better athlete than Muhova. So all that athleticism that she's bringing to the table, Coco's like, baby, I got that. That's my game. I can get around the court. And because I was watching Muhova hit backhands to Coco's forehand, and they just didn't have any level of they weren't lethal. And then Coco was just she was just like, okay, I'm gonna just give it some air and get it back to your backhand. And I did see that Muhova's backhand is a bit vulnerable. That's the side. Her backhand's vulnerable, and her forehand cross court just isn't consistent enough to bother Coco. And like I said, athleticism, Coco's like, anybody's scared of that. So she just, that is not a good matchup right there for Muhova. Coco's like, I will take that matchup every day and twice on Sunday. Hear me. Hear me. Now, she don't want none of Sabalenka and Iga, but Muhova, Coco like,
I got you.
I got you.
we started off at the bakery with you.
Right? Ooh. But
breakfast is the most important meal. and by the way, her coach's name is Matt Daly.
Matt, I was going to say Mark.
Just so that anybody who's listening who says we got a podcast and can't figure out who somebody's coach's name is, there you go, Matt Daly. I wasn't going to commit his name to memory until there was a reason to. So
there you go. There you go. We got it now. But yeah.
That's good. And then speaking of, kind of changing coaches, we had another major coaching change, which was Osaka going with Patrick Mouratoglou. And they were looking good until it seems like she had a little bit of a physical issue against Coco.
Yeah, because I was looking forward to that match. I honestly didn't know which side I was going on because I felt like both of them really needed that win. And it was just unfortunate that, they split sets. And unfortunately, Osaka was like, I got to tap out. So that was a bit disappointing. I just am hoping that Osaka can take the rest of this year to get herself right, get herself healthy, and come out and really make a true and solid run at the Australian Open. Because again, the game is there. We've seen the game. It's a level of being consistent and keeping your health right. I just feel like if she can get those two elements there, because they were even saying it, even her, I think Will Facette was even like saying it, and a bunch of the commentators were saying it. She's that far away from that breakout. She's that far. And she's going to be the old Osaka who is going to be challenging for these Grand Slam titles. I fully believe that. It's just a matter of when is that little thing going to happen. So hopefully she'll take some time on this, the rest of this season to get herself really right, and then really make a run at the Australian Open. What are your thoughts on Osaka, bro?
You know what? I've been actually somewhat impressed with what I've seen from her. I mean, the way she's come back in, the way, although she's not where she left off at, like you said, she's not very far away. And the back injury, which is what I think she had, I think it was maybe a back injury, that was the most frustrating thing to me, because I was thinking, to be very honest with you, that she had a really good chance of beating Coco.
Yeah.
Actually, I think she won the first set.
She did. She did. That's right.
So you hate whenever someone can't play to their full potential because of physical injury. If she had to go out to anybody like that, I'm glad it was to Coco. But yeah, I don't know. And maybe she's another one of these cases where, okay, let's just take the rest of the year off. It was a decent year, Let's take the rest of the year off. Let's make sure physically we are completely and 100% ready to go for the start of the year. Play a warm-up tournament before the Australian Open and look to go in and do damage.
I absolutely agree with that. And I mean, you've now got a coach in Patrick Mouratoglou who has an academy. Go to the academy and do exactly what you just said. Work on those little things that are going to get you to that next level and build that consistency, and then make a run because you're there.
Exactly. So very, very proud of her. Now, we mentioned that, of course, last week, what's her name? Coco, that she was able to get the China Open on the women's side. But on the men's side, we had another matchup between the future of this game in the finals. We had Yannick Sinner and we had Carlos Alcaraz. And this is a 1,000 level tournament, considered one of the big ones.
Well, that was 500.
500 for them.
That was a 500 for them. But go ahead. It's all good.
Yeah, that's right. This week they're 1,000.
Yes.
So they met in that final. Yes. Alcaraz 7-6 winner in the third.
And let me and Bryce, I'm going to say something that you have continued to say, and it's so very true in this matchup. Carlos has a level that, I'm sorry, I don't know that any other player outside of Djokovic right now has that level. I'm being just very honest. Sinner is outstanding. He is incredible. He does not have that level. And here's why. They split the first two sets. They get to a tiebreaker. Carlos loses the first 3 points. Carlos was like, okay, time to pull out the cheat codes. That boy ran 7 straight points in a row. Bryce, it was insane. The level of tennis that he played in that moment. And I just am like, that's that level. There it is. And it's just, there is nothing that Sinner can do about it. It's just when he gets into that mode, he's not going to lose. And I mean, that's the Djokovic, Sinner, or anybody else. He's not going to lose. And it was just amazing. That was an amazing match. I am loving the fact that we get to enjoy them battling. But when Carlos is doing Carlos things, like I said, they said at the Labor Cup, they start calling him a Fed 05 or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly right.
back when Fed just wasn't losing to really anybody, of course, except for Nadal on clay, but he was driving folks, just bakery
Right.
open, let's go.
Right.
That was Alcaraz, bro.
And what I appreciate about Alcaraz's coaching team is that they are allowing him to lean into that, because that is what makes him special. I know Carlos frustrates some people with sometimes his shot tolerance or shot selection, but that's the difference maker for him.
Yes.
It's not so, and you know, you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some, but that's the difference maker for him, and that is what has allowed him to win these big matchups. And so occasionally, yeah, he may not be on and he's going for these shots and he's going to lose. Look, your favorite tennis player in the world has always lost almost double-digit times throughout the year, right? So he's not going to win every single tournament. But when he looks back this year, he played 3 majors and won 2 of them.
Exactly. I mean, how incredible of a year is that? And lest we forget, he might just snag the year in the championship too.
Exactly. And got a silver medal at the Olympics. And going in defending 0 points at the Australian Open next year.
Yeah.
And if there's anybody who's going to take that title from Sinner,
it's yeah. Well, I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
I will give Djokovic an outside chance. And I do mean outside, because right now, Sinner and Alcaraz are by far the number 1 and 2 players in the world.
Oh,
they just simply are. They are a step above. And
right.
I know that Djokovic is playing this tournament. We'll see how he looks. Because you can never count him out. I mean, the boy got the game. He's got game.
Right.
And we know he's got that level. Can he produce that now, though, at age 37? Against 221 or a 21 and a 23-year-old? That's going to be the question. And yeah.
You know what another question is for me on that topic is, Djokovic has come out and stated that basically, if you're not a Grand Slam,
right,
he really ain't sweating you.
No.
That part of his career is over, right? And so I just wonder if his reduced play will show up in his effectiveness. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I think it will. I think it'll help him against the majority of the field, but I don't know that, and I honestly don't believe it will help him against the top 2 players in the world. And honestly, I think it will put him vulnerable to someone like a Medvedev, or I'm trying to think of who else he might struggle with in a Grand Slam best of 5. You know what I mean? It's like outside of those 2, Medvedev, it's kind of like, I don't know that reduced schedule is going to really reap him any benefits.
Right. Yeah, but you know what he's doing is similar to what others have done before him, so I'm not criticizing him for it, but I'm just saying, I don't know is exactly what you're saying. I don't know if that helps him in those biggest matches, because I'm going to tell you what else, when I start to compare these games between a Sinner, an Alcaraz, and a Djokovic. Djokovic, the basis of Djokovic's game, honestly, how he beats a lot of people, is defensively.
Yeah.
It's hard to get the ball past him, right?
Correct.
It's not that Djokovic has these amazing offensive weapons,
Right.
A Sinner and an Alcaraz can't hit the ball past.
Correct.
Djokovic.
Correct.
And I think that's a difference between the 2 of them and the other ones.
Yep. Agree with that completely. Yeah.
Because clearly Medvedev at the Laver Cup couldn't hit the ball past nobody.
Yeah. And that was another one that we didn't talk about that might have a little, but with Medvedev, though, he's so crazy in the head and he's so smart. I don't think it's going to worry him. I think he's like, whatever, that was the Laver Cup. I'm past that. And I think he will go back to doing what Medvedev does, which is figuring out how to beat people. My thing with him, though, is while he may kind of be figuring things out a bit with Sinner, and their head-to-head is really good, I don't know that I see Medvedev beating Carlos Alcaraz. I really don't, because Carlos Alcaraz is like, boy, I got you, and I will wear you out if you get up on this court with me trying them little tricks. Tricks are for kids.
Right. Well, and you see the media is now trying to push this thing that Medvedev and Tsitsipas are cool now, based upon the time that they spent on Laver Cup,
They did look chummy, which was fine. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
good. But still, Medvedev still owns Tsitsipas, and it's going to be like, I'm going to still beat you every time we get on the court. So that's not going
He
to
just
change.
beat him the other day.
Right? Yeah, we can be boys, but I'm going to wear you out, though. I mean, right?
Oh,
my
that is
goodness.
so funny.
Yeah, man.
So,
It's popping on the men's side. So, but yeah. We've got some good ones. And Bryce, we had another result of that week as well.
yes.
And talk about a week of people that I just love winning tournaments. How about Arthur Feast getting it done, Bryce? Come on now. Arthur Feast was like, okay, you know what? Ugo Humbert, you my countryman. You my dog, because they were showing much love at the end of it. They was just like, oh, he my dog. Right. He wrote on the camera, love Humbert. And I actually like Ugo Humbert. I think he's one of the, well, Frenchman, he like black folk. But anyway, but I just think that they played an outstanding match. And for Arthur to really be, I mean, he looked like he was drained come the second set. Right. And he fought and he hung in there. And for him to have pushed it to a third and then be able to pull it out, that was an outstanding match. And I feel like he might be at that, what's it called, the precipice of turning a corner. I really honestly believe if Arthur Feast lives up to his full capabilities, he will be in the top 5 of the world. I really believe that. Yeah.
Can I just share this information? So this Japan Open that he won,
yes.
which I believe was a 500 level.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
These are people he beat.
Come on.
So first he took out our American number 1, Taylor Fritz, and told him to go on somewhere.
Yep.
Then he made Berrettini tap out.
Yep.
Said, "You're not ready." Then he said, "The future of the USA, Ben Shelton, ain't ready." Sent him home. Holger Rune, not impressed by him.
No.
And granted, there were a lot of tiebreakers in here, but he was winning them all.
Yes.
And then Humbert in the finals. So it's not like he just kind of skipped through the daisies to win this tournament. He took out some serious players.
Yes, he did. He had to work, Bryce. He had to work. And like I said, I watched a lot of those matches and I was extremely impressed with Arthur Feast. Yes. I mean, he is playing some really, really good ball. And like I said, I think he's right there at turning that corner. And watch out for him in 2025, bro. I really feel like he might be getting up in there trying to put himself in the conversation of winning a slam, which we know a French person has not won a slam in a very, very long time. And to me, don't get it twisted. He's got an amazing game on clay. Amazing.
Yeah, right. So what would you say is his development area?
I honestly, I think it's really about patience and shot selection, because I feel like he has all of the shots. He hits a big forehand. He has a very nice backhand, big serve, hella athletic. I mean, I just feel like he needs to continue to be more consistent and really be choiceful when he's going after his shots. And that is what I saw in this last tournament, Bryce. He, to me, he was thinking, and he was just not hitting the ball as hard as he can. He was really trying to form points. And I just really appreciated how he was playing his game that entire tournament. If he can do that consistently going forward, like I said, he will put himself in that conversation. I absolutely believe that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're huge fans. So that was great catching up, Isaac. We haven't had an opportunity to catch up in a minute, so that's awesome. Let's do this. Let's take a very quick break, and let's come back and talk about these 2 1,000 tournaments that are happening this week over there in Asia. Perfect. All right, we are back. So we have the Rolex Shanghai Masters for the
Yes.
men that is going on. And then, you know what? Don't think for you, y'all. We have the Wuhan
Wuhan.
Open.
Yes.
I was trying to look at that city that they got written down, and I can't get
Mm-mm.
it. So we're
No.
gonna keep it to the Wuhan Open.
There you go.
Both 1,000 level
Yes.
tournaments. And let's take a look at the women first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I am trying to pull up my draws here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so it looks like we're in the what is that? That's a quarter round of 16. I don't know, third
Yeah.
round or whatever, something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, so we've got some big names left in here. We got Sabalenka, Haddad Maya, Coco and Kostyuk,
Mm-hmm.
Kasatkina, Queenie, Layla Fernandez, Jasmine Paolini. And I want to, before I turn it over to you, Isaac, Jessica Pagula,
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
give two shout outs on this women's side of things that have happened. Number one, shout out to Haley Baptiste for putting them things on Krejcikova yesterday.
Right. Right. She was just like, listen, I got a new coach and I am motivated and I'm trying to do some things. And she looked really good in that match. I mean, she looked good. Again, we all know that Krejcikova is a very streaky player.
Mm-hmm.
And so, did she bring her best to the court? No. But at the same time, Haley went out there and took it to her. And that
Right.
is what you like to see in a young talent. And I'm hoping that she can continue this form, Bryce, because I mean this is a
Right.
1,000. So for her to be,
Mm-hmm.
and she can win this next match. She can
Let's
win that
see.
match.
Oh yeah, Alexandrova. Yes.
Exactly. She can win that match. So to me, a 1,000 level tournament, these are
Mm-hmm.
big points that will really
Right.
help her along going into 2025. So Haley, get out there and do you, sis. Do
Yes.
you.
Yes. And the other matchup was it. I think it was the first time we had the Andreeva sisters to
Right?
play, and
Yeah.
some people may have been a little surprised at which one won, but we know how that stuff go, right?
We know how it go. Older sister, like, listen, you might be impressing all these other folk, but girl, I know your game. I know your game. I know you. This is John
Exactly.
McEnroe and Patrick McEnroe. She was like, no, the older sister will win today. And she did
And,
just that.
and 3-1.
Right? It wasn't even,
Three and
it
one.
was like a beat down. She was just like, I was like, dang, that's your sister. You opened up the bakery.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, that was kind of salty. I was like, ooh. Yeah,
Yeah.
she gave her breast stick out the door, Bryce. It was like, gone, sis. And she gonna end up getting stolen, unfortunately, in the next round. But
Oh yeah, Paolini. Yeah.
yeah, Paolini is gonna be like, listen, that sister stuff. Yeah, you can have all of that, but I'm gonna put them things on you.
Exactly. So, how are
Oh,
we thinking that this tournament is going to end up?
yeah, yeah,
Basically, for the big names up top, you got
mhm,
Sabalenka and Coco.
yeah.
I think between the two of them, they should meet in the semifinals. I'm thinking.
They really should, but I tell you what, Coco's road is tough because that match against Kostyuk is not going to be easy. She knows how
Mm-hmm.
to compete, and Kostyuk
Yep.
hits a good ball. So
Mm-hmm.
that one is not going to be an easy one. And then if she has to play Kazakina, we know how tricky Kazakina can be as well.
Mm-hmm.
I actually feel like Coco will have an easier time against Kazakina than she will Kostyuk. Yeah,
I
because
agree.
Kostyuk can hit the ball, bro. Bro,
She can.
she is not to be played with. She's one of those people that I feel like has not quite reached her potential because I
Mm-hmm.
really truly feel like Kostya could be a top 10 player. I really
Mm-hmm.
truly believe that because she hits a good enough ball to be in the top 10.
Right.
It's just kind of upstairs. And of course, you know what's going on in her homeland. She's from
Right.
Ukraine. There's a lot of that's going on with her. But I tell you what, if things can settle and she can really get her consistency right, she will have an outstanding 2025. I really believe that.
Right. And Sabalenka's next match is actually something she'll have to watch out for, because for those of you who have not been paying attention, Putintseva practically had the season of her career this year.
Yes.
And,
she has.
And she ain't afraid of nobody. Nobody.
Because she's crazy. We have interviewed you, so we know you and we love you. But yes, on the court, she crazy. And that's why she ain't scared of nobody. She crazy. She like, why must be scared of you?
Nope. Sure isn't. No. I love how she got a hold of Donna Vekic in the last round.
She was like, no.
She was like, you ain't got to be cute to be out here. But anyway, on the bottom half of the draw,
right?
You got Queenie, Helene, Jessica Pegula.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
honestly, I'm thinking Jess is going to come through there, because quietly, Bryce, I'm gonna let you know, there's a little war going on, trying to be who is going to be year-ending #1 for the women. Because Coco, having won that tournament, vaulted herself into the lead. Now, Jess took the lead after the U.S. Open, of course. And then Coco was like, now, hold up. I'm the #1 sis out here. You're not just going to be coming up with me on the last part of the year and snatching my title, snatching the wig. So Coco was like, so I'm going to tell you what, I would not be surprised if we didn't see an All-American final. I absolutely, because first and foremost, Coco, I think, wants a little bit of revenge against Sabalenka for taking her out. You know, and so you get her and Pegula in there. Hey, that's honestly the final that I want to see. And I want to see who's going to snatch that wig? Who wants the title?
I'm gonna tell you what, you were talking about Muhova not being able to direct shots to that forehand. That will not be an issue for Jessica.
Jess does not have that problem. And that's my concern with Coco, unfortunately, is the two other Americans, i.e. Pegula and Navarro. Oh, they like, we know how to get that ball over to that forehand.
Yeah. And especially Pegula when she puts that loopy, not Pegula, sorry. Navarro, when she puts that loopy forehand on her.
Yep. It's very Iga-like in the sense that she just doesn't handle that spin very well. And unfortunately, with Jess, it's the complete opposite. It's so flat that it is skidding through the court that Coco can't get under it enough to produce enough oomph to be able to push Jess back. And Jess is like, I'll take this all day.
Right. Too high to get over it. Too low to get under it.
Too low to get under it.
She likes it stuck in the middle. I'm just saying. But I would love for I'm getting my name up. For Coco to be able to win 2 1,000s in a row.
Yeah, that would be pretty outstanding.
That would be so huge.
Yeah, and she needs to be very honest with you. I think that it would really salvage her year and her summer, of course. And like I said, I think the two of them, Pegula and Coco, are battling for who is going to be the top female. And honestly, I like it, and I want both of them to succeed, because the higher they go, the less likely it is for them to meet early.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. I mean, if anything, I would love for them, because it's going to be tight for them to be #1. So I would love for them to get to 3 and 4. Then that way we know that they really couldn't meet, because they'd be on opposite sides of each draw if all 4 of the top 4 players are playing, i.e. Iga, Sabalenka, Coco, and Jess. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for, at least going into the early part of 2025. But I'm hoping they'll step up and, of course, ascend or try to ascend to that #1. But that's going to be tough. That's going to be very tough, because right now it's a 2-lady race, and that is Swiatek and Sabalenka. They are like, they're like, no, we ain't worried about y'all.
Right. So that's the women's 1,000 for this week. Let's bounce over to the Rolex Shanghai Masters for the men. And we're already in the quarterfinals for that one. And listen to these matchups. We've
Fire.
got up top, Sinner versus Medvedev. Then we have Alcaraz versus Mahat. We have down below, Mensik versus Djokovic.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, Taylor Fritz versus David Goffin. I'm still not exactly sure what happened there, but
Well, David Goffin, weirdly enough, has had a lot of success at this tournament. They showed a stat where they were talking about the people who have made like the most quarterfinals. He actually was on that list, like with Roger Federer and Djokovic, and it was crazy. I was like, David Goffin really likes this tournament. So there's something about the tournament that works very well for his game. But
everybody
I think it's
tired.
Yeah, apparently so,
That's
right?
Point of the year.
But yeah, it's gonna be kind of tight on him getting past Fritz, because I think Fritz is still, he's Fritz got that game, and I see him pushing forward and crazy. And let's give a shout out real quick to Taylor Fritz, who is number 5 in the race to Turin. And I believe he will end up finishing the year in the top 5. That's impressive. That's awesome. Really, really, really awesome. And considering that we just interviewed his coach, Michael Russell, shout out. I mean, they're doing a really good job in his camp. So I'm just very happy for all of them. Yeah.
Right. So what are you thinking here? Who are you thinking is coming through? Well, let's just walk through it since we're in the quarterfinals. So we have Sinner and Medvedev.
Yep. So again, I love Maddie. I do. I love him. But I think Jannik Sinner he's trying to get back. I think he wants another matchup with Alcaraz. And the fact that it's not a final, I think actually bodes very, very well for Jannik Sinner, if I'm being honest with you. Because I just think that with Carlos, again, it's kind of like we said, if it's on the line, that level is going to show up. But the semis, I wonder about that, to be very honest with you. So I think it's going to be Jannik versus Alcaraz.
Okay.
And I think the bottom, of course, will be Djokovic versus Fritz. Even though, let's give a shout out, because I picked this young man at the U.S. Open to upset Felix. And I'm telling y'all, Jakub Mensik is not to be played with, y'all.
Right.
Keep your good eye out on this young man, because quietly he is 19 years old and he is putting in work. He has got a big game. He's a big guy, and he's just solid on both sides. All he is missing is just that continuous reps and being put in opportunities to play these bigger players. It's going to be interesting to see how Djokovic handles him, because I feel like that's going to be a tougher match than we think.
I agree with you. And actually, it's funny because I was thrown off a little bit with Alcaraz and Sinner being on the same side, because in my mind I think of them being 1 and 2, even though at the time of seeding, Zverev was number 2.
Correct. Yep.
So who are you calling for the finals then?
I'm gonna call a Jannik Sinner Djokovic final, because I still just don't think that Taylor's going to be able to get over the hump as it relates to Djokovic. So I'm gonna call a Sinner Novak Djokovic final, and honestly, I think Sinner's gonna win. How about you, bro?
Well, see, and this is where I'm just gonna be dumb because I'm just so low. I totally agree though with your mindset about the semis with Alcaraz, but I just can't pick Sinner over Alcaraz. So I'm gonna go with Alcaraz up top. I'm going to agree with you on Djokovic on the bottom. And let me tell you why I think this is really going to happen. I think Alcaraz needs to replay that Olympics final.
Absolutely.
And so I think he wants to meet Djokovic in that final. And let me tell you what, based upon how they do order of play, if Djokovic plays first and he gets into the finals, I think Alcaraz is going to beat the noise out of whoever, including Sinner, in the semifinals because he wants to get with he got to cleanse his palate
Yeah,
from
that's a
from the,
great way of putting that.
from that Olympics loss.
Yeah, he's like,
And
give me some milk. I got to cleanse my palate because
right,
I still got that taste. I got that
right,
taste.
right.
Yeah, I agree with
Um,
you. If he gets in the final with Djokovic, I feel like he is going to wear Djokovic out. I think Djokovic is going to see a level of awkwardness that he's going to be like, "What the hell? What is this?"
exactly. Especially since he's got his mojo back now. You
Correct.
know,
Exactly.
I definitely expect to see that. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we'll be watching, and we'll see this come through. But Isaac, this has been a great catch up review for us. Do you have anything else you want to kind of talk before I start to wind us down here?
No, no, no. I think that's it. We have covered pretty much everything that we talked about covering. So no, I'm good. I'm good, brother.
Okay, okay. Before we close this episode out, we wanted to make an appeal to our followership. I'm sure it's not been lost on anyone the tragedies we've been having with these hurricanes um, across multiple states, and I'm sure people are doing what they can to help. We have a bit of a personal connection to Asheville, North Carolina. Our good friend Doug Mayer, who is a cameraman that we met at World Team Tennis a couple of years ago at Indian Wells, and just as lovely of a guy as you'll ever meet. He lives in Asheville, and so we reached out to him to see how he was doing after Helene, and was glad to hear that he and his family were safe. But he did communicate the level of devastation that has happened to Asheville, North Carolina. It just can't be conveyed via television and media. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to appeal to your generosities to support some of the local organizations that are helping to provide relief. I know that he recommended the American Red Cross and UMCOR, which is UMCOR, and Beloved Asheville, which is a local one. I'm going to put those names in the comments below for this episode, and we'll probably do a different post. But as he stated, any little bit helps. There are so many people that have not only lost their lives, but have lost their livelihood and have lost their homes and all many, if not all, of their material possessions. So we just request that if you are in a position to give and to help, we'd appreciate you doing so. So
Very well
with that,
said.
thank you, thank you. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and log off here before we get to a full hour. It was great chatting with you, and we will be back next week to see how the Shanghai Masters and Wuhan turns out in these 1,000 level tournaments. So on behalf of the podcast, this has been your boy Bryce.
And this is your boy Isaac.
And we are Brothers on Tennis. Everyone, stay well, stay safe.